Coming up on Mountain News at 6, the 3 men charged in connection with the death of a Prestonsburg woman appear in court. What we learned from the hearing. And we'll hear from an aviation expert at EKU after a plane crash in Louisville is drawing comparisons to one that killed more than 250 people.
And all is quiet now, but this time tomorrow we're going to be talking about some active weather. Details coming up.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Well, today might be the last nice weather day until sometime next week. Some big changes are on the way starting tomorrow. First Alert meteorologist Eric Dean has our first look at the forecast. Eric.
That's right. I hope you got out and enjoyed today, where temperatures were in the low to mid 60s. Right now, still not bad. We're in the 40s and 50s. We're on the back end of a high pressure system, so you're noticing that wind is coming out of the east. You're noticing temperatures in the mid 50s in Hazard as well as Jackson, Boonville. Good evening to you. You're at 50, 55, the double nickels in Moorhead, but you look over towards Grundy. Look at that temperature, 45 degrees. First Alert weather days have been declared for Friday. Going into the day on Monday, strong storms likely Friday night. We'll see a calm Saturday, snow chances possible Sunday night. But the big story Monday, not so much the snow, even though it's our first flakes of the season, but that feels like temperature. Some places could see that wind chill in the teens and low 20s. Here's the severe weather potential for Friday. Almost everybody in the WYMT viewing area is under a marginal risk for severe weather or a level 1 out of 5 with heavy wind, hail, vivid lightning, and a very low chance, I mean a very low chance of a spin up or two from Moorhead down to Monticello, something we're going to monitor very, very close. First Alert live pinpoint Doppler radar. All is quiet throughout eastern Kentucky as well as the Commonwealth. Again, we're on the back end of a high pressure system. You can see it right there. That's why that wind is coming out of the east and the southeast. So if you have plans tonight, not bad. Clear skies from left to right. Temperatures in the low 50s by 9 p.m. and then upper 40s by the time you join us tonight for Mountain News at 11. I'll have the complete breakdown of the weekend coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. In Harlan County, a man appeared virtually in court in a case where he's accused of shooting at officers. Stacy Huff pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder of a peace officer. He was arrested in August after police responded to a home in the Close Blint community for a domestic issue. Police say Huff had been highly intoxicated and was holding some of his family at knife point. He's scheduled to appear in court again on December 5th. In Pike County, 2 people were arrested after police say they left the scene of a crash. It happened yesterday when police responded to the Ratliffs Creek area about a crash involving an SUV and a truck. In the citation, it says a wheel came off the trailer that a truck had been pulling, which struck the SUV. Police later came across Jared Wayne Hicks, who was laying in a small ditch. Kara Nicole Hicks was also arrested. The 2 were taken to the Pike County Detention Center. At least 13 people are dead following Tuesday's plane crash in Louisville. Many there are still in shock in the wake of the crash. A couple of women who work and own Stooges Bar and Grill, which is located less than a mile from UPS Worldport and Muhammad Ali Airport, talked about their experiences. One video showed a wall of flames towering over the restaurant moments after the crash. Debbie Self, owner of Stooges Bar and Grill, says she was not at the restaurant when it happened, but was nearby.
I got to Miners Lane, which is maybe 2 blocks, and the police turned us away. We couldn't go. I couldn't get to my business.
Self says while she is not allowed on her own property, she says she has been allowed near it since the crash. She says it is remarkable the building itself was not damaged, but the nearby damage resulted in the business being closed and more than 40 employees being without jobs. Some are stepping up to help people they don't even know in the wake of the tragedy. A pilot in the southern Indiana area learned just how quickly people were willing to give. Sydney Martin's fund drive has already raised hundreds of dollars for first responders and air traffic controllers. She says many air traffic controllers and first responders are running on very little food and sleep right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's already such a high stress job for them. So it's unfortunate that on top of, keeping everybody safe, it's such a high stress job, they're also not getting paid to do so.
Martin's initial goal was to raise more than $1,000. That ended up changing to $4,000, with more than half of that already being met. The UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville is drawing comparisons to one of the deadliest air disasters in U.S. history. WYMT's Caroline Mueller spoke with an aviation expert at Eastern Kentucky University about the similarities and why he says events like this are extremely rare.
The UPS cargo plane that went down near Louisville's airport is being called a descendant of the DC-10 that crashed in 1979. American Airlines Flight 191. Dr. Tim Holt, chair of the School of Aviation at EKU, says the comparison is fair.
Anytime an engine like that completely severs from the wing, then you're looking at possible hydraulic line, and at least in this event, there were hydraulic line damage that severed the lines, froze the control surfaces, which left less aerodynamic lift in the left wing.
The NTSB says investigators are already analyzing every piece of wreckage, including both black box recorders.
We feel comfortable once we get these to our lab in DC that we will be able to get a good readout of the applicable data, and that will be yet another point of information that will really help us understand what happened during this point of flight.
Holt says the 1979 crash led to stronger safety standards, and those practices are still in place today.
Based off of management practices, following consistent standardized practices of manufacturers, those changes really were amplified and took it to a different level.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says early indications point to a mechanical issue.
This was not an air traffic control issue. It appears that it was a mechanical issue. Everyone's been clear on that. That is not speculation.
And while the investigation could take a year or more, Holt says the aviation industry's safety culture remains strong.
Events like this are rare because of the oversight of maintenance and the sign-offs and who's qualified to do maintenance and how they're qualified and the rigorous training they go through.
Caroline Mueller, WYMT, Mountain News.
The NTSB is still investigating. They say their job now is not only to learn what happened, but why, and make sure lessons from this crash improve safety moving forward.
All right, there's the next big impact right there, that rain transitioning into snow, but we've got to get past Friday night and Saturday first, where that line of severe weather will be pushing through. Details on the First Alert forecast coming up in a few minutes.
And data shows our region's workforce system outperforming many metro areas.